Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I'm a nerd, and you are here for the June 2016 PracticeMaster Virtual User Group meeting, where today we are talking about customizing your task list. That's the part of your calendar that shows you things you have to do that aren't events. Mary Jo's going to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about that mysterious thing called search settings. I say mysterious because if you ever tried to go in there, it's probably told you can't go in there because other people are in the software. And so a lot of people have a lot of questions about what that means and how it should be set up. But first, I want to make sure that everybody understands that version 15.3 is now officially sunsetted. This is the last warning we're going to give you. June 2016 was the target date for sunsetting version 15.3. That means if you are still on version 15.3, you can no longer get support from STI on that version of the software. It's also going to become increasingly more difficult to get updated from version 15.3. So if you're still on it, you want to get off it and get updated, hopefully the latest version, version 18.1. Yeah, it's blank, Leanne, that's all right. Leanne's questioning why my screen's blank, because sometimes when we leave it up here, people wonder if we've started. So I move it down here. Now, we will talk more about how to find out what version of the software you are on. And for now, just keep that in mind and start to think about that. And at the end of the virtual user group meeting, we'll talk about how to update and how to find out what version you're on. And I will get into PracticeMaster, where Mary Jo will tell us all about task list customization.
Okay, well, that sounds like an exciting topic, doesn't it? We're going to go into the weekly calendar view. Now, this works in whether you're on the weekly, the monthly, your daily, whatever. What I'm showing you down here is the column layout and the things down here that we can change for this task list. Now, sometimes you might come in here and you're not seeing the task list. That might be because this got pulled down, and so you don't see it. If you just hover over that line there, you can see that double line appears, and I can drag it up. I can always see my tasks on whatever view I'm on here. So sometimes people lose that. So that's the first thing I want to tell you. If you don't see it, just drag that line up, and you can drag it as tall as you want, and you can see that. Sometimes when we come in, we don't like what these options out of the box are. Now, this really doesn't make much sense. I have a description, a user group, a user ID, time start, and time end. Well, I don't know what client this is for. I don't know, you know, what the description of what I'm supposed to do at that time. I mean, I guess I do. It's over here. But what if I just don't like this layout? I just want to get something different. Well, a couple things that we can do. We can right-click on here, and we can go to Properties. And we can change this column layout. Now, right now, this is just a new lookup that it has in there, but there's some that have been defined in here. There's a task list. In fact, this task list one, if I choose that and I look at it, you can see it changes. And this is, I believe, the one that's usually out of the box that you see. But again, I see a client ID, but I don't see a client name, and I don't see the description of the client. And that might help me as well to know what matter it is that I'm looking at. So again, this one just might not fit the bill here. So I can either choose from what's already there, which we have this nice long list here of all the different ones, or I can create a new one that I'm going to use for myself. Now, these are user specific, so I can create as many of these column layouts as I want, and me as a user can pick whichever one I want to use for my view. So be careful if you're modifying something that's already in here, because somebody else might be using that, and you don't want to change what they're using on their view. You just want to, you know, if that's the case, this task list one doesn't, you know, conform to what you want, create a new one for yourself and just give it your initials in front of it. So this one, I'm just going to say that this is MJ Task List. And that way I've got my own, if I can spell, I can't even see that. It's like microscopic. I'm getting old apparently. There we go, task list. Now I can start adding the fields and the columns that I want in the order that I want over here. Now make note here that if you are a manager and you have these rights, you can actually show this layout for all users, so somebody else could actually use it too if they wanted. But in this case, since I'm creating one for myself, I'm not going to check this box because I just want it just for me. This is mine. I want it just for what I want to do. So I'm going to put a due date. I'm going to put the description of what I'm doing. I might put a start time, and I put the client ID, and then down here I've got some more things. So I could actually put the client name the client description, all these things in here of what we're doing. Now sometimes I'll have this description down a little bit. So this is going to be the due date, the start time, the client, the name, the client description, and then the description of what I'm actually doing. This is just an example. You can use whatever you want here as your columns, and you can order them in any way that you want. So now if I save that and I choose that as the new column layout that I want to have here and say OK, I now have that layout for myself. I have the due date, the time start, client ID, client name. I have the work description for that client so I know which matter it is that I'm working on, and then what I'm actually doing for that client. So this is the task itself. So just know, just right click. I'm just right clicking in that column, choosing properties to do so, and that's what I have. Now the other thing that you might want to change is what tasks am I seeing here? Am I going to see the completed tasks? Am I going to see just the ones that are due today? Am I going to see the ones that are just out overdue? What do I want to see here? So again, by choosing properties, I can choose what I'm seeing right here. So if I want to have all incomplete tasks or just the incomplete tasks for a selected day, which is what's there, just the overdue tasks, or if I've marked something complete by mistake and I want to see what that is and maybe uncomplete it, or just see what I've done for the day, I can do all completed tasks. So whichever way you want to sort your list, and you might flip back and forth throughout the day to see all the incomplete and then all the completed, whatever you want to do there. So I'm just going to say I just want all the overdue. Now I've got all of the things that are in red that are completely overdue and I have not done. Now that might just be a way that I can go back and clean up a bunch of stuff because it's old and I just want to, oh yeah, that was done way back, and I can just click over here and mark it complete. Get a little box. I can say yes, and that one falls off the list then. So now I have a workflow or something going on in there, but we'll just cancel that out. But you would just mark that complete and get it out of there. So there's just different ways that you can come in and see this. And I believe usually what I do when I'm looking at my task list is I usually show all of the incomplete. Actually, I think I actually do the overdue. I do that one because then I only want to see things that I haven't completed. But it's totally up to you. If I just want all the incompletes, I would see everything here. I can organize that by due date. I would see all the overdues in red. I think this is the one that I use because I see all the overdues in red, but then I also see all the ones that are coming up that are incomplete. So that's how you can modify this list. Now that also works out. I'm at the bottom of that task list at my calendar, but if I go out into my calendar tab and go to the task list, that also works over here. So you see that heading that I have over here is also what the heading is on the task list itself. So not only does it change it at the bottom of the calendar, but it will change it over here too. If I change it here, it changes it at the bottom of the calendar. So either way, you'll be able to get in and you'll be able to do those changes that you need to do and organize it in a way that makes sense for you. Paul?
Okay. I am a big fan of this view here where you see all incomplete for the selected day. And what that means is as you jump around this graphical calendar, oh, here's what I have to do. Oh, I don't have anything to do on Friday or Tuesday, but today I've got these things, and tomorrow apparently I've only got things to do on this one day, but this will then change for each day that you hit. It's to each his own. That's my favorite. Mary Jo has her favorite. I'm sure you have your favorite. Now, I'm going to talk about something that people never ever see. It's this thing over here called search settings. And one reason people never see it is because if anybody else is in the software, or if you're the only one in the software but you've got other stuff running, it gives you a message and says you can't go in here. And so even managers at firms that we work with have never been in there, and they have to kind of trust that we've set it up right. Now, we've usually set it up exactly the way they want, but I thought it would be good to explain what this stuff means. So I'm going to get out of my other task. It was complaining because I had my calendar running. I'm going to go into search settings, and I'm going to show you what these things mean. Now, I'm going to start at the left as far as the tabs. It comes right into this one because this is where people usually go. And a lot of people will rebuild these indexes on a monthly basis. We do here, and many of our clients do. So index properties simply means what do you want to do about indexing either conflict, email attachments, or linked documents. Now, the conflict and contact fields can be indexed automatically, and so can email attachments, and so can linked documents, but they have separate selections. So you could say, for instance, oh, I don't want to index email attachments, and I don't want to index linked documents, so you could disable that. We recommend that this simply be set to automatic for everything. And what that means is that the system will automatically maintain the indexes for every one of these types of indexes. Now, what are indexes? Imagine if you're as old as me and you remember a time when going to the library meant that there was a card catalog. And the card catalog would hold, there would be one that was sorted by author and another that was sorted by subject and another that was sorted by title. You can think of those as being like indexes. If you wanted to look for a book called Lincoln, the Early Years, you would go to the L drawer, pull it out, look for the word Lincoln, find the exact location. You'd find the exact card for Lincoln, the Early Years, and it would give you this number, and you'd have to then know how to find the number, but you'd go to that point in the bookshelf, and you'd find that book. Now imagine not having that card catalog and having to go to the main branch at your city's library with millions of books and simply find it just by looking at every single book, starting at one end of the library and hopefully finding it before long, but maybe getting all the way to almost to the end and then finding the book. That obviously is a lot slower. An index is like the card catalog. It's a way for the software to say, oh, you want all the tasks that are due today? Bam, here they are. I know where to find them because I've indexed this by due date. So that's what an index is, and we recommend that you simply set them all to automatic. Now, I'm going to skip over to this one, and I'm going to say yes. I'm going to skip over to this exclude list because I just want to tell you, you can exclude caring about the exclude list. This is just a list of all the words that we don't care about indexing, like a and in and or. You're never going to search for the word or. You're never going to search for the word and. So this is just a list of words that should be excluded. Now, if you want to all of a sudden decide you're going to start searching for the word again, you can delete that word from the exclude list, and you will then be able to do a search for the word again. Again, no pun, the exclude list is probably something you don't really care about. And then finally, this rebuild index, if you check one of these, or all of them, you have the ability to then rebuild that index. And I'm going to check, and as I check email attachments, it gives me the option to remove deleted records. And as I check linked documents, it gives me the option to remove deleted records. So that means if an email attachment belonged to an email that was deleted, it's going to get rid of the attachment. If a document record was deleted, it's not really deleted, it's still in there, and so this just says get rid of the record itself. Okay? It cleans up your files. So imagine, if you will, that some teenagers will blame teenagers for everything. At least I will, because I had some. I came into the library and they tipped over the card catalog, and it's a mess. It's all over the floor. Well, that's what this does. This is like that little old Mrs. Hovey coming out and getting somebody to tip it back up and going through and putting all those cards back into the right place. That's what rebuilding the index does. And we recommend doing this maybe on a monthly basis. You may notice every once in a while that maybe somebody in your firm is doing this, but if they've gone a couple weeks too long in doing it, you might get a message when you go to do a conflict search that says 40% of your conflict records, index records, contain deleted records. Or are inactive records, and please rebuild your index. That's what it's telling you. It's telling you to come in here, check these boxes, and rebuild. So it's not a bad idea on a monthly basis. I think we do it on a monthly basis here. Many of our clients do as well, to just come in here, check all these boxes, and rebuild. Now, if you don't have it set to do indexing on linked documents, then this box will be grayed out. Okay? So check all the boxes you can, hit rebuild, and that's it. That's what the search settings mean. That's how they're operated on, and that's how to work. So I promised you, now that we're done with our topics for today, I promised you that I would show you how to tell what version of the software you're on. So you simply go into Help and About, no matter which package you're on, Tabs, PracticeMaster, AP, GL Trust, I don't care. Help About, and it will tell you right up here what version of the software you're on. If you're in version 15.3 and you thought you were still getting support from STI, or you thought you were still going to be eligible to upgrade your software, this is the month where that changes. So it's important to check, if you know you have an older version, to check and make sure it's not 15.3, because you really do want to consider getting out of 15.3 now that they have finally sunsetted that product. The next question that brings to people's mind is, when are we going to sunset 16.3? I would say it's probably going to happen sometime in 2017, but I don't really know for sure. Did I say 16.3, Mary Jo? I just meant 16, version 16. When are they going to sunset version 16? Sometime in 2017 is my guess, but I don't really know. I don't really have a crystal ball, and I don't even think they know. I think at some point they decide, and since we're sunsetting 15.3 now, I wouldn't be surprised if sometime in 2017 version 16 was sunsetted. So that leaves me with one thing to talk about, two actually. Next month, we are talking about Platinum and the benefits that you get from Platinum in PracticeMaster. I will be taking that topic. And Mary Jo is going to talk about how to email directly from within PracticeMaster. There are several ways to do it, and she's going to cover that topic and illuminate you on that. And I'm going to take you over here to our website, which is Attorney Computer Systems, with an emphasis on that last S in the word systems right there, attorneycomputersystems.com. And I'm just going to show you that this webinar that you're in right now, or this virtual user group meeting, the PracticeMaster virtual user group meeting, is being recorded, as we do for our tabs and our World Docs virtual user group meetings, along with our Coffee Pot webinars. These are our 4 live events. So if we click on PracticeMaster virtual user group meetings, we will be taken to a page where we will see the topics for the next meeting or next user group meeting. A registration link, either this or this, will serve as a registration link. And then if we scroll down, we can browse through recordings of previous virtual user groups. This one isn't ready yet because it's still in post-production. Actually, you're listening to it right now. You're live. However, this one here is ready. And so we will find recorded versions of every PracticeMaster VUG, Tabs 3 VUG, World Docs VUG, everything we've ever done live. So these go back literally years and years with all sorts of topics. You can browse through them. You can use our search box here to find exactly what you're looking for, but please take advantage of this content. We spend a good deal of time each month making it for you. People tell us they use it a lot. We want to make sure you're using it. It's available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that is that. Everybody have a good rest of the day, good rest of the month, and we will see you in July. Thanks much. Bye-bye.